Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Scribes and Scrolls. This is Book 6, Chapter 64, The Replacement. And we'll talk in a few moments with a recap about what that means, though the overlay tells a little bit of a story. First up, and perhaps most importantly, we are coming at you pre-recorded tonight. So if you don't see us directly reacting to anything you've said, or if you're donating domain tomes or anything like that, that's because we're not here. With it being Halloween tonight, some people want to hand out candy to kids or something, and some people have kids that they want to take trick or treating or whatever. So that's what they're off doing. We're all doing whatever. We might even be in chat. I don't know. Are we there? Still consider those domain tomes, subscriptions, gift subs, resubbing, cheering, tipping, all those things will earn domain tomes, to add to those 3 tomes up above M's head there. Domain tomes, of course, let the players do things such as, rolling with advantage, re-rolling, or making the dungeon master re-roll.
We need them. Help.
There's also a very distinct lack of limited edition domain tomes for me. They're a little pricier at $20 a piece, and I can only have 5 at a max, but they let me do things like roll with advantage, re-roll, or counterspell a re-roll from the players. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about how you want to support MTD. Couple other announcements. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night for Descent into Avernus. I had to think about it again. We play every other week, and we didn't play the last time. We are planning to play tomorrow, currently. So tune in for our next session of that. Dwight and I will be there. Our amazing Dungeon Master, Vi, be taking us and the rest of our friends further down into the depths of hell. 1 week from Wednesday will be the epic finale to Mythos Tales, The Darkness Outside of Broken Branch by our own Cari, an original scenario with a little bit of Pope Cthulhu, Down Darker Trails. It'll end in bloodshed, and probably with us killing each other.
You don't know that.
I'm talking about the game. I'm not even talking about our characters. It's gonna get violent, y'all. And then Thursdays, of course, is the Dawnbringers. We recently announced that Dawnbringers is in its final season with a finale arc coming up. Tune in on Thursday for the Dawnbringers, and we have an exclusive end of the series, end of the campaign trailer coming up. So you won't want to miss that. The last thing that I do want to mention before we get into our game here is just a quick mental health check-in. Just a reminder that whether you are struggling, you find yourself going through a difficult time, maybe you're not sure where to turn. First off, just know that you matter. Your presence here on this earth makes a difference, whether or not you believe it. It is true. And it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to go through those things, to feel those feelings. But please know that you do not have to struggle alone. There are plenty of resources available. And if you're wondering where you can find some of those resources and help, simply type !help in the chat. It will also show up along the bottom of the stream here. And it will show up in the chat periodically during the game. But when you type !help, a couple of URLs will show up. Findahelpline.com, and you can check out takethis.org's growing list of resources. They've just added some new stuff there. Very helpful, everywhere from finding a therapist to a full list of services and things that are available. So please do check those sites out, bookmark them, save them for yourself, save them for a friend. Remember, you matter. with that, I think it's time to play some Dungeons and Dragons. We are in the midst of figuring out, well, a lot's happened. So let's figure this out. I almost said the Dawnbringers. You're not the Dawnbringers. They're elsewhere in the world doing other things. Don't worry about them. The book club was investigating the disappearance. You were looking for your friend Little One, who had traversed a magical portal through a book called The Price of Beauty to the Temple of the Restful Lily. After a little while here at this wonderful forested day spa, you found Little One, but he was no longer going by Little One, nor was he an ogre. He had been magically transformed into a Goliath and had changed his name to Von Reed and seemed quite happy. Over the course of your visit, murders started happening and things started going awry, including you all being sent in search of and to destroy a creature inhabiting the shrine that turned out to be a Medusa, which also turned out to be the transformed Silvari Silversong, the former owner of the Temple of the Restful Lily. During that fray, our own Togo, the Turtle Paladin, was turned permanently into stone, where he currently resides as a monument to himself in the bottom of the shrine on the property. As the rest of you, as you were waiting for Mizya, who had also been transformed to a lesser extent to get better, a halfling woman showed up with a few clerical abilities, introducing herself as Marta, who said, "Hey, I might be able to help you, but I need you to help me first. I want to find out what happened here." So you headed out, and the hags that had been secretly running this place for a decade came out of hiding and, well, partially. They weren't facing you directly. You had to go into their tower, breaking in through the top, fighting numerous scarecrows, which unfortunately at least one of them turned out to be Little One, or Von Reed, disguised as a scarecrow magically. Also unfortunately, Teera, you drove your greatsword down through it, killing Von Reed. But he got better because Marta was there.
You could just say killing the scarecrow. You could just say killing.
It wasn't a scarecrow.
I know.
I would be lying.
Okay.
Marta used some magic to restore him a bit, but he no longer had his band of intellect and was kind of feral. Also, you decided to follow a moving blood pool into the hag's painting studio, where they decimated you all, knocking most of you unconscious, took you to their real lair, where you met the mysterious grandmother Duathine, who the hags seemed to hold in reverence. She sent the hags on their way. You were all held and bound by the vines, or rather the roots, in this underground lair. Duathine removed her disguise, revealing herself to be none other than Ravona Shadowheart. And she told you she wanted you all to work for her, that something is going amiss with souls destined for the Raven Queen. Some of those souls are not making it to their destination. She said that this was something she had discovered in her experiments. Of course, naturally, there was some opposition to working for Shadowheart. So to ensure your cooperation and give you something to have a stake in this, with the utterance of a single arcane word, she killed Vorn with a magical spell. Vorn fell instantly dead and lifeless to the ground. And then she said that she had brought with her some insurance to make sure you stayed somewhat on task. When none other than Vornushka stepped out of the portal. Vornushka the full orc, younger sister of Vornuk. Now, I'm not entirely sure, as I was thinking about this.
She's younger sister.
I said that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, I think.
I'm not sure how many of the characters know that. The lines between the meta knowledge is strong with this one. But regardless, you have been tasked with trying to figure out what the heck is going on with souls. Vorn is dead. And your cleric is unconscious. Also, before she left, she made the hags GTFO, but also destroy the painting of Von Reed that was magically binding him. And the last thing he said to you, as he got his headband of intellect back, was, "I don't feel so good." And that's where we're going to pick up. We are still in this cellar. There's still some remnants of the hag's lair here. You haven't really checked out the lair. Vorn's body was wrapped up in the roots and taken through the portal by Ravona when she left. Also, I forgot to mention, just as a reminder, because I know Ricky will never remember this.
How many gold pieces we have? Don't know.
Exactly.
Don't know, don't care.
A pouch of coins containing 50 platinum pieces and 500 gold pieces was given to, I think that was the amount. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But was given to Vornushka, who immediately said, "I don't require payment." And she said, "Well, this is more like I'm funding you."
It's a per diem.
And Shadowheart has said that Shadowheart has said that she will serve as your patron of sorts. If there's things that you're having trouble getting a hold of, you can contact her. Also, it was revealed, of course, that Mizya had been, at least at one point, working directly with Shadowheart. And the sending stone that Mizya had in the form of a spider brooch was taken away from her and was given to Vornushka. So that's where we are, in this lair. The cauldron bubbles with the remnants of the painting that was destroyed in it. There's a couple other paintings and things you haven't yet explored. Everybody here is conscious, with the exception of Marda, who is just beginning to show signs of stirring. And Marda, when you do regain conscious at your will at this point, you have 1 hit point. What would you all like to do?
I am staring at freaking Vornushka. That's
and Vornushka is going to just start laughing really hard and heavily. I can see why Vorn died with this group here. With did he die honorably at least?
Teera
Of course not. Don't even answer. It's of course not.
Teera shakes her head and goes over to Marta.
oh, are you walking away? That's fine. And was it you, and points directly at Teera, did you kill your own friend there? What was it? It was a big one, tall one. It's the dumb one with the headband.
You notice like Mizya is immediately right next to you, just kind of off your right shoulder. His name is Little One.
Little One. And who struck the final blow to Little One?
That is not important, and you should shut your mouth.
Oh no, it is very important, because I don't want to spend the rest of my time watching my back if someone kills me by accident.
Well, then you should just go ahead and watch your back then, because you're here against our will. So
Yes,
you can.
If anyone kills you, Bushek, it won't be an accident. And Teera would then turn and like go to try to help Marta up.
Oh, yes. Okay.
You just hear from the corner the frail looking Goliath just says, actually it's Vaughn.
Oh.
Vaughn what? And at that moment, like, for a slight sliver in time, you'll see Vernushka's tough bravado presence kind of like just give a glimmer of weakness and quickly rearranges her shoulder. What do you mean it's Vaughn?
That's my name. It's Vaughn. Vaughn Raid.
Okay.
I think Vorn's sister is just as dumb as he is.
It does sound that way, doesn't it, Doctor?
Maybe dumber, which I didn't think was possible because he's not very intelligent. And he's going to, Doc is going to look at Vornushka and he's going to say, well, are you?
And Vernushka quickly looks over at Teera and quickly says, "You balk that. You're gonna let them talk that way about Vaughn? Dumb, is he? Was he perceived as dumb to you all?"
Teera would turn her head and just be like,
surely
"No."
you've missed my brother's. I say what you will about my brother, but you will not call him dumb, and you will not insult him. Say what you will about me, but you will not insult my brother, especially after all he's done for everyone here.
I mean, two questions. One, how do you know what he's done for everyone here? And two, you clearly didn't know your brother very well because it's not an insult. It's more a statement of fact. Just, things on the face of it as they are, as they exist, not as you wish them to be. Just another way of saying, this is how it is.
There were a lot of things that Vaughn was, but he was not of lacking of mind and not of lacking of heart. The fact that you are all here lets me know that Vaughn played a vital role.
But I don't think that's what we're saying. He was a valuable member of our team and quite nice. I liked him a lot. But he wasn't exactly street smart, so you say. I trust him implicitly in a fight, anytime.
He wasn't book smart either.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And Vornushka's going to look over at Teera. Teera, would you say the same?
Teera has been this whole time kind of just like trying to assess how hurt Marta is and trying to kind of wake her up, and she would kind of crack her neck because she's just been like desperately trying to tune Vornushka out, and she would stand up and finally turn and totally face Vornushka, and I'd say, yes, he was very smart. I've never known an orc that liked books as much as he did.
And do you see how his supposed friends talk about him in his absence?
And I would kind of turn specifically to Mizya and be like, I don't know if we're friends.
And do you see how his friends talk about him in his death and sacrifice? And that is why I laugh, because it is a tragedy. And Vernushka takes her and turns her back and kind of walks away.
Well, you know what they say about comedy. Tragedy plus time.
And
although
she's going to look over
this
her
is
shoulder.
very short, even for that.
She's going to look over her shoulder at Teera. Comedy. Yeah. My brother's dead and it's comedy. And she goes and sulks away in a dark corner somewhere.
Does anyone else think that Vorn's sister is somewhat obsessed with Teera? I only mention it because I've been talking to her for somewhat around the neighborhood of 10 minutes, and every time I say something, she looks at Teera and says, "Don't you think so, Teera?" It's almost like I'm not here, and I know that I'm, hard to miss, as
I find it odd, Doctor, yes, as well as the fact that Vonushka is so worried about her brother's death, yet is working for her brother's murderer.
Yes, also true. And I was given to understand that Vornushka and Vorn didn't particularly like each other. In fact, Vorn, as I understood it, perhaps I didn't understand correctly because I don't always tend to listen, is that Vorn was going to kill Vornushka to get the blood axe back because she dishonored the family and some such interpersonal nonsense, which is really completely irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. Yet Vornushka seems very concerned about the manner and disposition of Vorn's death, particularly his corpse and memory. I find it odd, given what I know about the situation.
And Vornushka is going to growl, "You know nothing about the situation."
I've laid out the details pretty effectively, and Doc is going to sort of look around. He's going to think, he's going to open his book, and he's going to say, "Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Very effective recollection of the details. I'm very intelligent, and I was able to piece things together somewhat easily. It's almost like you weren't able to cloak your plan in any sort of veil of secrecy, and I wonder why that is. Does anybody else wonder that?"
I think this is when Marta starts to stir and slowly open her eyes as she begins to look around. I would think the first person she would see is Teera, being kind of close to her, and you would hear Teera, a very slight voice. Teera, is that you?
Yeah. You okay?
I have been better.
Yeah. Not to insult you or anything, but yeah, you look like you've been better. Here, let me help you up. And Teera would offer her hand.
Yeah, it takes some time because Marta's quite an old halfling. So Marta takes Teera's hand and slowly stands with the help of her quarterstaff. What happens? I hate to ask, she says as she looks around.
And Teera would kind of nod and just be like, we got caught, got brought here, and Teera would almost not be able to bring herself to say they killed Born, but she would just kind of struggle with the words for a second and then just say she killed Vaughn.
You see Marta nod as she walks closer to Teera and puts a hand up on her arm. She seems sympathetic, but she just nods. Well, it is simple then. We will have to get his body back in order to revive it.
Yeah, we know where the body is. It's not that. It's kind of a long story. And Teera would just kind of look around and was we have time. We should take a day, lick our wounds, make a plan. And Teera would almost reflexively look at Mizya and then almost instantly look away.
Or we could just rush right in with swords blazing.
I don't think all of us are strong enough for that, Mizya.
Oh, I was just defaulting to our usual course of action.
You're muted, Gary.
And Teera would just kind of nod to herself almost and start to unpack her pack. Teera's gonna stay here for a day and kind of doesn't give a shit what anybody else thinks about it.
Yes, I wonder.
What do you wonder, Doc? As she's pulling out pans and a rack to cook something on the fire. And
I wonder if licking each other is really the most productive way to heal.
oh,
I mean, I'm given to understand that some people might find it enjoyable, but not so much for the healing.
It's an expression, Doc. It means we should wait here, heal up, make a plan, and take our time.
Oh, so not what Mizya said. What we usually do.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm gonna walk over to a table that the Pawafwi and stuff were on?
Yeah,
Left.
there's against the wall. There's a table. There's the cauldron is still sitting there, sort of bubbling,
and I take a minute, and I kind of look at it, and I kind of like trace my fingers across the embroidery on the Pawafwi, and I pick up the spell book and set that into my satchel. I leaf through it for a minute, set it into my satchel. I pick up the ring, and I just kind of look it over, and then put it on the index finger on my left hand, and then again I just kind of I carefully pick up the Pawafwi and hold it out in front of me, look it over again, and then I will swing it over and I'll lift the hood up and just quietly walk back over to the group.
Make me a perception check. You can do so at advantage because you're because I said so.
Because I have deemed it appropriate.
15.
15. As you are doing this, there at this table, your foot brushes against something just under the table. What had looked like sort of just this rough-hewn table put up against the wall. There's a little bit of shadow under it, but just kind of glancing down, you see that there is also a decent-sized wooden chest that is underneath this. It's the Skyrim, the big metal chest you find whenever you defeat the boss.
Do you have to do lock picking?
No, you defeated the boss. It's unlocked. Or is it?
Yeah. I will I look it over. I'm going to just kind of I want to give it a once over to see if I notice anything about it. Not quite trusting what would have been left behind.
Yeah, go ahead and make a intelligence investigation check.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm looking at the mechanisms, anything. 19.
You look over this whole thing and you see that with that 19 there is a just under the edge of the table, so that if somebody were, and you see this as you sort of bend down looking at this, basically at head level there's attached to the chest a trip line that reaches up,
just like
and there is a under tension there is a, it looks more or less like a crudely sharpened meat cleaver, but it's on a pivot, sharpened, and it is set that if you just tried to open this chest, this meat cleaver would just right into your face.
Ooh.
Crude.
It's super crude.
Yeah. I will take a moment to unhook the pieces that kind of hold it together.
Make a sleight of hand or dexterity
God,
check.
Mizya. Oh, that's
13.
What a dumb trap.
13 is enough.
Okay. Yeah, so if I am able to undo this, then I would open the chest.
Yep.
As Mizya's unhooking the two wires, Doc is reaching into his satchel and he pulls out a leather pouch and he opens it up, and his thieves' tools are clinking together. And he's gonna fold it back up and he's gonna put it back in his satchel.
It's the thought that counts.
Roll a D100, please. Dwight.
53.
Let's see.
Right in the meat.
53. Okay. Roll a d4.
Rolling on some treasure tables.
Yep.
That's a real glass half.
That's a
full
1.
attitude, Dwight.
Yep.
It's a 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get 2 rolls. Roll
Okay.
two D100s.
And it's a 79 and a 22.
Okay.
That's 101.
And what was a 20 what?
22.
Okay. So. Okay. So inside this chest, you see that first off, there is just a absolute scattering of coins. Some of them are like, it looks like there was an attempt by somebody to put coins, like sort them and put them in neat orders. But this is a mixture of gold, copper, silver, and platinum coins. And they look to have varying degrees of patina on them, showing that for the decade that the hags ran this place, they took money, but they were just stockpiling it. I will tell you how many you find, since you're taking the time to rest here. There are 1,000 copper pieces.
Wow.
There are 11,000 silver pieces. It's a big chest. 2,500 gold pieces.
You remember when we were really concerned about how much Togo in stone form weighed? I am not concerned about that right now. We're finding a way.
100 platinum pieces.
Oh my god. If you say something about Electrum, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Cari, there is no Electrum.
I know. I just wanted to try to
Don't.
get you go. This is me.
I'm handing
75.
out treasure. Is this the time that you want to be
No,
messing
I'm
with
sorry.
me?
I wrote it down. It's too late.
I will not mention Electrum.
There's no
I will not
Electrum.
mention Electrum.
There's no Electrum. There are 53 you rolled the first time. Roll 2d6 for me, Dwight. Forgot to do this one. And total them.
4.
You find 4 gems that are worth 50 gold pieces each.
Jesus.
If we need to at a later time, we can determine what those gemstones are. So in addition to the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gold pieces worth of coin you found, there is a pouch containing a very fine, a mixture of fine and coarse ground powder. It'll take some time to figure out or to magically identify what this is. There is also a glass potion bottle that whoops, let me go back this way. Let's see, that was this potion is filled with it's filled with an orange liquid that seems to almost flicker between a deep orange and almost a yellow color, flickering almost like a lantern. And where the liquid stops and the distance to the topper of about an inch, you see black smoke just sort of roiling in and out of it. And if you open the top to just like take a whiff, you smell a little bit of a brimstone smell, and the smoke just goes.
Awesome.
Oh, this is fun.
A little.
I just started like hefting coins into my bag of holding.
Teera would have the fire lit by now. Would be setting stuff up to cook.
I think Marta would be close with Teera and just kind of like quiet for a while. You can see Marta's trying to just get her bearings back. It keeps eyeing the female orc that is now here.
That's just appeared. It's like one of those situations when you're with a friend and be like, "Who is that? What is their name? I should know them, but I think I forgot their name."
Yeah.
Help!
I could have sworn there was another one here, but eventually Marta turns to Teera. How long has it been past since we came here? What date is it?
It's, I would say, the date that is tomorrow from whenever we got captured.
So
It's
a
about
total of
tomorrow
only a
by
few
now.
hours has gone by since you assaulted the
Okay.
tower.
Wasn't it like night though?
Yes, it's rolled over, so I've already put the date up. It is currently the 18th of Kythorn.
Nice.
But it's, at this point, it's like 4 in the morning on the 18th.
Okay.
It's the
18th.
18th.
Oh. Well, all right. You can see Marta nodding, thinking about something. When you all have the chance, I would like to tell you all something. I think I might have a solution for, well, I said for Togo, but could be for Vorn as well, to get him back to being alive.
As Marta's speaking these sage words about bringing friends back to life, Doc is going to glance at Marta, and then he's going to glance at Vornushka. He's going to glance quickly at Teera and Mizya, and he's going to say, "Has anybody noticed there's a bunch of random people joining our party lately? I wonder what that's all about."
We should have a retention and recruitment coordinator to look into turnover.
Call HR.
That would be something. There's a common
I'd
denominator somewhere that we're missing.
I'd say maybe it's me, but clearly not, because I'm
No.
delightful.
You are delightful, Doc. And Tira's just kind of poking the fire. Marta, you would probably notice she looks very tired and yet very, like, harshly awake at the same time. It's really kind of a weird vibe.
Yeah, Marta's gonna just help where she can. Still very weak, but yeah.
And Tira's putting some, like, rations on the fire and cooking, and once in a while Teera will, like, kind of glance over at Vornushka. She's keeping her back to Vornushka to send a message, and yet at the same time she doesn't feel entirely safe having her back to Vornushka.
Vernushka is going to stand up from her sulking corner as she stomps towards the fire. What rations did you put on the fire, Teera?
Meat.
Okay. Vernushka is going to reach into the fire with her bare hands and grab the meat and start eating it. And then
Hey. I
and
didn't
then she's-
invite you to my fire.
and then she's going to turn around and fart on the fire directly and walk back into darkness, eating.
Teera would
the meat.
stand up at this point and would, like, crack her neck side to side and be like, "Listen, that is the second time you've insulted me in my party. Let me tell you right now, there will not be a third.
And
Keep
Vernushka
your
just-
distance."
And Vernushka is just chomping at the meat. And she's like, "Oh, my apologies." And then does like the snarky, like, bow that you would do to like a noble,
Mhm.
and then keeps eating the meat.
Teera would flip off Vornushka and, like, as she's turning, maintain the bird, and then finally, eventually, just sit back down at the fire where she was.
Vornushka,
Yes.
I would like you to make a charisma saving throw at disadvantage.
Hashtag my life all the time.
We gotta test out Vernushka's stats here.
Yeah. Well, her charisma's already at -1, and being that she just ate the meat and just farted on the fire.
Such a bitch. No reason for it. There's just no.
Sorry.
No. God bless.
You can't let me play this kid. I gotta put some numbers on myself. I gotta
perfect.
reflect.
I love it. Don't you dare.
All right. So 2d20. You can take the lowest one. Is that how that rolls?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you'll subtract 1 from it because of your amazing charisma bonus.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, here we go. Oh, and I crushed it as per usual. So we'll take 17 and 15. So it's gonna be 15 minus 1. So it's gonna be a 14.
Not bad for a disadvantage.
I know, right?
Okay.
Damn.
Vernushka, that is a fail.
Nice. That's pretty offensive.
Vernushka, as you do this act and Teera says this to you, you feel a coldness take over your body, starting at the bottom of your feet, and it rapidly moves up all the way to the top of your head and to the ends of your fingers. And you feel within your mind as if you've just been shoved into the back seat and you are no longer in control of your body. The rest of you see, and Teera, you especially watching Vernushka is kind of towing up nearby. You see this sort of ethereal glow rise up from the floor and just sort of like a just momentarily happen, and Vernushka's pauses and her entire sort of stature shifts slightly. The shoulders drop, and suddenly Vernushka turns towards you in a very much more feminine, even sort of almost holding her hands like this, like the sort of Disney, my hands aren't showing, the sort of Disney princess way, as she turns towards you, and you hear Vernushka's voice say, "I'm terribly sorry that I had to do this." And then sort of looking almost over her shoulder and down a little bit, "I will give you control back momentarily. It is I, Silvari Silversong."
Oh, this is
From the
this is
shrine.
weird. Yeah, we remember. How?
Well, since you killed me in my Medusa form, I am a ghost doomed to haunt the grounds of the Temple of the Restful Lily until the hags of the fetid gaze are eliminated. That seems to be the lot of my unfinished business. As for this, I did not like how she was talking to you and how she was acting. And I felt this the best way to intervene.
Okay, you two, break it up.
And I had something I wanted to tell you. And Vernushka, you can hear everything that's happening, and you feel your body moving against your will as you are possessed by this ghost.
Awesome.
I was hovering inside the walls, watching as the coven took you. And turning towards you, Marda, Vernushka / Silvari, still doing this sort of demure thing, just says, "I have some information that I think would be most interesting and useful to you, as well as all of you. And sorry, I'm picturing this big buff orc Vornushka just talking very
Approaching this halfling or whatever she is. Yeah.
and talking in this very soft sort of way. I was unfortunately witness to what happened while you were unconscious, and when that horrible other witch used her magic to kill the one you call Vaughn. In my current state, I assume is part of my curse. When a person is, when they die, I watch as their soul leaves their body and begins its journey to the Shadowfell, where it passes on to the Raven Queen, and from there, what she does with it, I don't know, but that I know is her domain. But it was most curious when Vaughn died. His shadow, or his soul, as it left his body and began to sink down into the ground, he started to drift towards what I would assume to be the Shadowfell. When suddenly it was as if some powerful force were pulling against his soul, and it was pulled as if a bellows, causing the smoke from a fire to dissipate, but in reverse, a sort of suction. It was pulled downward and in a completely different way than I've seen every other soul go.
What is it, Doc?
Is she just telling us what we already knew?
No.
That there was some force that are diverting souls from the Shadowfell? Because, as I recall, we knew that already. There's more, right? It's not just going to be a rehashing of the details we've already been provided.
This might be different, Doc. It was Vaughn. It wasn't just some soul. It was his.
Right. No, I understand that. So there's some emotional information, maybe, that comes with that, I suppose, given that it's Vaughn. Some, I don't know how to describe it. The feelings and whatnot. But, I mean, generally speaking, it's more or less exactly what we knew already. That there's some force that's pulling. There is going to be more, right? It's not just going to be what we already know. I just wanted you to skip to the part that we don't know, if there is.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know what you know and what you don't know.
It's okay. Silvari, please continue. I'm sure we'll get to there eventually, Doc. And Teera would kind of pat Doc on the chest.
It's just...
Doc is going to sigh deeply as if bored.
It's just... I watched you all kill other creatures this very night. I watched as you killed Scythe, the Cambion, and I watched you kill some of the Scarecrow minions. I watched Scythe's soul traverse towards the Shadowfell, as expected. It was only Vaughn's soul that was taken in this way.
Do you think it has something to do with his sword? He's got that sword that he just into his hand and it's made a lot of smoke. You think it has something to do with it?
Oh, that is so far outside of anything I have experience with. I'm sorry, but I am not a warrior, says this very large warrior-like orc woman.
Well, what do I know about biceps and such?
Vornushka, make another saving throw, charisma saving throw.
Well, a natural one is not going to let me fart on campfires anymore.
Probably not.
Marta is looking thoughtfully. And where did You said it went in the opposite direction.
It was almost as if the souls that traverse their way to the Raven Queen, it's as if they follow the current of a river. But with Vaughn's soul, it is almost as if a tributary had been undammed and that soul was pulled in this other direction. I don't know that it... When speaking of things of the spiritual realm, I'm not entirely sure that opposite is the right way, but it definitely was not where it was supposed to go.
Can
Have
Marta
you...
make some...
Go ahead.
Can Marta make some kind of check to see if she has heard of something like this before in her studies, or...
Yeah, I would say that would fall under history or religion.
Okay. She has both. So... Yeah, that's a 9.
It doesn't ring a bell.
Have you seen any others pass in this way in your time here?
It was about a day ago that I noticed... Well, I noticed... And she kind of looks a little nervously. Your friend Togo. The petrified one. His soul seems to be in a state of stasis. He's not so much dead, but he's not so much alive either. But whatever it is that took Vaughn's soul, it seems to be trying to exert its will on Togo's soul as well. I can sense the struggle as if it is trying to pull the soul from the in-between, laying claim to something that I don't believe it rightfully has claim to. Whatever it is.
Togo's not dead.
Togo's not alive either. I'm sorry, I'm not much more help than this, but I wanted to let you know, and I had intended to come talk to you in my spectral form, but this body was not very nice.
Say that again.
Uncouth is a word that comes to mind. And I would hope that you would take efforts to make yourself more presentable in the presence of these new allies you have. And you know that she is talking directly to you, Ornushka. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw. This will be straight up. You're muted?
I'm muted for the benefit of everyone in the chat. That is a positive 12.
Okay. So what you see, Fornushka, is you suddenly become aware in this place where you are sort of in a back seat of your own body. It's as if your face was turned inside out and is staring back at you from the inside in this horrific visage as you hear this voice of this woman that's also your voice. If you don't deal with your friends in a better, my friends in a better way, I will tear whatever shred of your mind apart that remains. You are well and truly frightened by this. You're still muted?
I don't think he said anything.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Is Vernushka ever to make a comment back?
Yeah, you can speak.
Oh,
But
sure,
you
sure.
are, this is, you're really afraid.
Sure. And Vernushka goes, if someone spoke about someone you loved very deeply and called that person dumb, when you know that person's heart, how would you feel? What would you do? How? I know my brother. And this just proves to me he was always a kind-hearted, well-intentioned person, and that his well-intentions and kindness caught him death and disdain from the people that he looked out for and protected him. And you expect me to be nice to these people? How could I?
Ornushka, that's very dramatic. It's very dramatic, and let me tell you why.
Wait, she's in his mind. Wait, she's in her mind, right?
Oh, right. She's not saying that out loud. Never mind.
No,
it's in her
right,
mind. This is all taking place. She doesn't have context. She just knows like what she just stepped into.
Yeah, I think this entire exchange is because Vornushka does not have, I just want to keep calling her Vorn, does not have control of her body, so she didn't speak it aloud.
Once again, us as orcs are always perceived in a certain way. No matter how hard we try, no matter what we do, we will never escape the way everyone perceives us. And my brother, he tried, and now he is dead.
You
So
get
tell me.
interrupted by this ghost. You get interrupted in a way that only somebody who's possessing you can interrupt your ability to speak to them. Interrupts you.
Mhm.
With this still horrific visage looking at you, filling you with fear, she says, "Oh, here. I do not perceive you as an orc, nor do I misperceive you with any of the living world's perceptions of orcs, whatever those may be. No, I see your soul, and it is dripping with ichor and vileness. It is not fully coated, it is not fully drenched, but it is a terrible thing to behold. Do not try to convince me that you are innocent. Do better." And you suddenly feel your body just release to yourself, into your own control.
Okay. Vernushka will take the piece of meat in her hand, and she'll walk over to Teera, and she'll look at Teera, then turn back to the what is it? The tray or the grill she was cooking on. She'll put the meat back on the grill, and she'll look on it, and she'll put the meat back on the grill, and she'll look back at Teera, and she'll say to her, "I'm sorry I farted on your fire." And then she'll turn away and walk back into the darkness with her eyes glowing, and she will sulk back in the darkness.
That needs to be the next MTD t-shirt. MTD, I'm sorry I farted on your fire.
I want somebody to clip that. And we're gonna put that as the quote for Vernushka. Oh my gosh.
That's amazing.
That is one thing I did not anticipate this session to have, was one, let alone multiple uses of farting on your fire. Welcome
Teera
to D&D,
just kinda-
friends.
Teera does not accept this apology, and she just sort of like nods and is a little more concerned about eating this piece of meat.
And, Vernushka will sit in the corner, and she says to herself, "As frightening, as terrible, and as fire as you are,
Amazing.
you're right.
Incredible.
My soul drips with anger and hate. And I like it that way. And she sits back, and her eyes are just gonna flare red.
All right.
But she's like back away from the group in darkness.
Yeah,
You just
damn
see
right
like
she
glowing
is.
eyes just kind of glowing.
What does everybody else do with the rest of this time? Are you choosing to rest?
Good question.
Sorry, that was a funny comment.
Yeah, I would finish eating, and Teera at this point, the tired kind of overtakes her, and eventually she would like roll out her bedroll and just sleep near the fire.
I think that Marta will want to have a conversation with. Actually, before that, Marta is going to go off into a corner for like a few minutes as she takes some powder and puts it in a circle on the ground and takes a match and lights it, and as it's smoldering, you see the same like golden you see this golden flickering come up, and she's going to cast divination, and she is going to ask if the grandfather tree can help both Togo and Born, is her question.
So this light is, if I remember correctly, was it dragonflies or was it fireflies that manifested in your light?
Fireflies.
Fireflies. As you cast this spell and you ask this question, you see the golden light from where you have burned the sigils for this spell. The light flares upward and begins to coalesce into a central spire. All of these myriad fireflies twisting around one another, braiding themselves and branching off upwards, and you see that they are light painting an image of this grand tree, branches going off in all directions. And then you see the fireflies sort of pulling apart from where that light is and settling into the ends of these branches until, though you went off into a corner, everyone can now see this place lighting up with a tree that appears to grow towards the ceiling of light, fireflies forming the multiple leaves of this tree. And as that question of whether it can help both is formed, in answer, you see, like leaves falling in autumn, the fireflies begin to drift downwards towards the base of the tree. But they are only falling in very specific place as you see a form rise up. And then you see a second form, silhouettes, vaguely humanoid, of two figures at the base of this tree. And it lingers for a moment with the fireflies flitting about, a few more kind of coming down to form into these silhouettes. And then all of the light falls and dims down, leaving everybody that looked at it with this sort of retinal image burned in for a few moments of this tree with two figures seeming to answer in the affirmative that it could help both of them.
You see a small smile come across Marta's face before it quickly is replaced by this almost concerned look as she rushes back over and is going to try and get everyone's attention.
What?
I am sorry to disturb you, but I have something pressing to tell you. I must admit I apologize for not telling you before. I was really wanting to get rid of these hags and was hoping that you would help me expedite it, but I fear that I have wasted a lot of time. I know how to save both Togo and Vorn.
Don't leave us in suspense.
She is going to take her staff and she's going to use in a very similar way to the fireflies that were coming from her staff from the divination. In a very similar way, they come out of the end of her staff and begin to coalesce around making different shapes and pictures almost. And there is a forest around here. The High Forest, I don't know if you've heard of it, but in it there is a tree guardian known as the grandfather tree, and she, again with this light, almost like it mimics that same like tree that the divination has showed. There is one time, once every season, that the grandfather tree will speak with someone who will, if they put out an offering, will potentially get the ear of the grandfather tree. It's very powerful, very well, he would be able to fix whatever issue, whatever curse is on Togo, and to help bring Vorn back. Unfortunately, the summer solstice is on the 20th day of Kythorn. It is the 18th.
2 days. What kind of sacrifice?
First, I would like to say, because Teera, Mizya, and Vornushka, you all are from this region. I think this is actually the first time any of you have heard a reference to something being close by, to sort of tell you where in the world you are.
Okay, good.
I would like the three of you, and Doc, you can also roll, but I want the three of you to roll with advantage. For, sorry, I should tell you what you're rolling for. It'd be
roll.
history.
Okay.
Oh,
Ugh. 11.
23.
Vornushka?
No, I mean, it's an auto fail almost at this point.
23 as well.
So when it comes to knowledge checks, it's not so much about whether it's pass or fail, it's about how much you know.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to roll it. Give me just a second. History, advantage.
Sorry, what'd you get, Doc?
23.
So,
I believe.
Teera and Vornushka, you've heard of the High Forest. All of you have heard of the High Forest. It's the massive hundreds, if not thousands of square miles or square kilometers, whatever, of forest to the south of Silvery Moon and the Silver Marches. The grandfather tree, you've also heard mention of, but in the same breath that you would have heard of old stories told around a fire, little more than a children's tale. Doc and Mizya, you basically have heard all of what Marta is telling you, except for the bits about it potentially actually being able to help you. You know of the grandfather tree, and I would say you know enough to know, especially you, Mizya, hailing from this region, you know that means that you are within days, 1 or 2 days of Silvery Moon. And you would know this as well, Doc, just with general knowledge. This puts you in the Silver Marches, which you would also know puts you approximately 1,500 miles away from Candlekeep.
Wow. So my question to Marta was, what kind of sacrifice?
Well, you have to present an offering to each of the 4 dryads who are there. So each season, each one of them. So I would assume that it would be something that is appropriate for each season. Oftentimes, offerings like that are a little vague, so it is up to the imagination.
And we would have to do this once for each of our friends? Yes? Or do you think one per dryad total will be fine? I'm just trying to determine how much we need to collect.
Yeah. Would Marta know
Marta,
if this is like a
you would know
thing?
Yeah, you would know that this is the offering to the dryads is as a pilgrimage group, which your group would be. You must offer to each of the dryads, make an offering to each of them, simply to get access to the grandfather tree.
Yes, we would only have to take. We just need to speak with him. I am not sure if it is just a one-time thing, but if you had seen over there, I had asked I had ventured in to ask whether it is possible to save both, and thankfully that seems to be a possibility.
So, spring, summer, fall, winter. We need one offering for each. In 2 days. And we need to make the journey there.
Marta, you also know that the travel time to get there is only about, give or take, depending on the pace you move at, allows you basically just enough time to take a long rest, and then you have to hoof it if you're going to get there before the end of the summer solstice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Marta nods. We would have to leave right away. But after we rest, of course.
Well, the doc doesn't sleep. Mizya, what you do, meditate or something?
More or less, yes.
Well, Marta, you obviously need sleep. No, I do too.
I'll stand guard. Or march.
Okay.
Great, I've never felt more safe in my life. Mizya, how about you both stand guard, you and...
Yes, the doctor and I will take care of things this evening.
Yeah. By all means, get some beauty sleep. You need it. And Teera would lay down and roll over and just kind of start to snuggle in and go back to sleep.
And so you all settle in for a long rest. If you haven't done so already, you may press the button on your character sheet.
Yay! I need to press the button.
Take a long rest, and
So, through the evening, I take my few hours of meditation time, and then I spend the rest of the time just kind of hood up, nose buried in this new, or this new old spell book that I found. And I'm going to sit right next to Teera the whole time as she's sleeping, waiting for her to wake up.
Throughout the night, Doc is sort of not really focused on anything, but there is a point where anybody who might be awake around 2 or 3 a.m. hears him go,
Anushka's gonna be awake because
Just because she is.
why not?
so point of clarification, you are taking a long rest from 4 a.m. until noon. Just so you all know what time you're going to be starting.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever, yeah, I mean, whatever time Doc is.
Yeah.
Those strange noises for Anushka's gonna notice but not do anything.
There's also in one of the corners, a little ways away, Vaughn Reed has managed to find some remnants from this hag's lair of some ratty old blankets, and has made himself sort of a bedroll, and has sort of turned his back to everybody, and it's just blankets pulled up over, and eventually you just hear this heavy and then time has passed for all of you to get your long rest. Anushka, I would like you to make a constitution, I'm just going to make not a saving throw, but a check.
No problem.
A roll constitution.
16.
So, if you choose to, that will allow you to stay awake all night.
Well, yeah, she's staying awake, but for totally different reasons than what everyone else thinks she's.
That's
staying
fine.
awake for.
You're able to hold off sleep. You now have 1 point of exhaustion, though, because you did not take a long rest.
No problem. I love it.
So, as sort of a herald of noon, not morning, but noon, you, and I guess Doc, Vornushka, and Mizya would see this first. You see Vaughn rise up from his bedroll and just give a big guess that's all I needed was a good night's sleep. And you see that overnight Vaughn has returned to a full muscular Goliath.
Nice.
He has maintained his Goliath form, but with the destruction of the painting the night before, the curse that was on him has lifted. And he looks hale and healthy.
As
And
Teera
then-
wakes up,
yeah, and then you guys wake
She
up.
sees Mizya and goes, "Have you been sitting there all night?"
Well, more like all morning. It's been night's been over for quite some hours, but that's neither here nor there. Yes, well, Look, I just wanted to apologize for not being completely truthful with you. I know that has caused some friction between us, and I meant you no ill will or harm. I hope that you can understand my reasoning. I was sent here to watch you by Ravona. I had no idea who you were. I had no idea what she was up to. I was just doing what I thought was the right thing. I have long since learned it was not, and I'll be honest, I'm not really good with people, and I didn't know how to tell you what I had not told you before. So this is me trying to tell you and apologize and hopefully make some part of us right again.
Teera would, at this point, sit up, and she would just kind of sit like crisscross applesauce right in front of Mizya. And Teera would reach forward and take both of Mizya's hands in her hands and like kind of set like sort of almost meditatively kind of sitting between them. And Teera would be looking very intensely into your eyes, Mizya.
And I think Mizya kind of looks away, like it's really uncomfortable for Mizya to be this close to somebody else or to look into somebody else's eyes. So for a moment or two, I'm kind of like, I'll look at you, look away, look at you. But after a few seconds, I kind of relax my shoulders and look right into your eyes.
Do you have the party's best interest at heart?
I most assuredly do. I could have turned your brother in at any time, and I pull out. I've got these silver bands in my satchel, and I pull them out. And I just kind of dangle them from my finger. These were given to me by Ravona to capture your brother and turn him in. And I chose not to because I didn't think it was the right thing. And I just hand them to you.
And Teera would take them and kind of just for now pocket them and just have both of Mizya's hands in hers again and just say like, and you are on our side for good, no matter what.
I will continue to be honest with you, Teera. I am on my side. But right now, my side aligns with your side. And Ravona is a fucking bitch. And I will do what I can to end her.
And as Mizya says that, Teera would reach forward and grab Mizya by the shoulders and then lean in and touch her forehead to Mizya's. And then just say, that's family enough for me, Mizya.
You can feel me kind of like fight against that at first. And then again, I just kind of, it's not a full relaxation into it. There's still a lot of tense in my shoulders, but I kind of just like stay there, kind of understanding that that's a gesture from you.
Teera would just kind of eventually lean back and nod and stand up and start taking care of camp.
And I think with that, we are going to take a break. Thank you, Dwight, for reminding me. The joys of pre-recording, which, as a reminder, this entire episode is pre-recorded. So we are going to take a break, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes. So we will see you on the other side. And we're back. We're moving forward just a tiny bit in time as you are all packed up and getting ready to get your bearings on where to go. Marta, you being from this region, you know you need to travel more or less straight south. It's going to be mostly overland trailblazing. Moving from the forest you are currently in to the high forest, there's not a lot in the way of road travel. The other thing that is happening is for Doc and for Teera and Mizya, Vaughn is standing there, and Vaughn has made no effort to pack anything to go. As he says, I understand that you are taking off on another job, and you have to do this to save your friends. I'm not going to go with you. I would like to get back to Candlekeep at some point in time. Or maybe eventually Irony will get tired of waiting and will come through that same portal I did. I don't want to be away in case she does. And I've been talking to Silvari, and he kind of looks off to the side, and just kind of half in the morning sunlight, half in shadow, you can sort of glimpse the ghost, who is just giving the most poltergeist-esque stink eye to Vernushka. With the hags gone, there's nobody here to man the Temple of the Restful Lily. And Silvari's stuck here until the hags are dealt with. I'm gonna help straighten this place up, get it cleaned up, and keep it up. I'll figure out if I can get a letter or something to Irony, and hope maybe they show up. When you finish whatever this adventure is you're heading off on, feel free to stop by. Now, as I understand it, you've got a long way to go and not a lot of time to do it in, so you better get a move on.
Teera would nod.
Thank you, Vaughn. It has been a pleasure.
Teera would go over, I guess. And does Vaughn have like a scar of any kind where Teera effing killed him? Or a mark?
I think because it was a killing blow. So the nature of the Goliath is that they have this sort of bluish gray skin, and there's these darker gray tattoos, and you can see where there's these sort of bands that come across the shoulder and move towards a point, towards his sternum, over what would be his left shoulder. You can see where the tattoo has sort of a jagged lighter gray through it, and you can see it looks like a scar that's much older than it should be because there was magical healing involved.
Gotcha.
But definitely a scar.
Teera would go up and touch it and just kind of look him in the eye and be like, I'm sorry.
Vaughn puts his hand over yours. You ain't got nothing to be sorry for. You didn't know. You did what you had to do because you were trying to protect the people you care for. We're all good.
Teera would smile.
And unless anybody else has anything else they want to say, we just see this sort of wide shot of Vaughn standing there with the ghost of Silvari Silversong just sort of waving at you all as you trek off into the woods heading southward.
Awesome.
So, when you begin heading southward, the first thing I need is 3 people to roll me d20s.
I will.
I'll take them in the order you give them to me.
8.
13.
5.
Okay. 8, 13, and 5. It is a clear skied, shaping up to be a, well, I guess it's that morning light. It would be the high noon light because you all slept till noon. But It is a clear sky with barely a cloud in the blue sky. It's comfortably warm for early summer. No sign of rain, wind, or anything as you head off into the woods.
Yay!
What pace are you all planning to travel at?
Whatever pace Marta tells us.
As fast as Marta can, which is not as fast.
I would offer, I would say if it's not too insulting. I've got a longer stride than you. You don't look that heavy. You could ride on my back for a little while if you want. If it ain't too insulting.
Marta just laughs. When you're as old and as small as I am, you take any advantage where you can. Which is great, because she can only walk 25 feet, so...
Yep. Teera's got a solid 40 feet, so Teera would piggyback Marta. We're walking at a brisk pace, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Vernushka's walking, and as she's walking, she feels like a slight crawling on her back and over her shoulder. And she's like, huh, what the fuck is that? And realizes that a mimic has attached to her.
Oh, dinner! It's there!
Okay. Ricky, you look like you're looking up in the sky. Like, is Jake going to allow this?
Yeah, I'm wondering if you're gonna like. I'm trying not to. I'm not trying to I'm trying to see what you're gonna do with that information.
Well, what I would like is for you roll me a D100.
$62.
Whoops. A 62. 320. That's 70. 9. Nice. Why? Hold on. This isn't. There we go. Does a 19 beat your AC?
Yes, it does.
I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh god. Oh no.
9.
9.
Believe it or not, that is a success.
Stop.
So you don't. It was a DC 9 con save.
Oh,
You
my
don't
God.
take poison damage, but you do take 1 point of piercing damage as a very large spider, about half the size of your fist, about the size of Marta's fist, crawls over your shoulder.
Oh my god.
Sorry, no mimic for you.
Oh,
There is
yeah.
no way.
Oh.
There is no way that Ditto would just attach himself with Vornushka, seeing.
Very scary lady.
Plus, with the way everything played out, Ditto was unfortunately taken with Vorn's body because Vorn was cocooned. A good effort, and I gave you a fair shake at it. To add insult to injury, you missed the D100 roll by like 5 points for it to happen.
Oh.
Geez. That's fair. It's fair.
But because you narrated something crawling up your back, I immediately looked up spider stats.
What is Vornushka's reaction to a spider? Please tell me she goes eep.
Is it on? So it bites Vernushka on her shoulder.
Yeah, and it's just a regular old spider, so you can straight up squash it if you wish, or flick it, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, Vernushka is gonna take it in her hand, and she goes, "Brave warrior spider you are to bite a chieftain," and lets it off into the distance.
Cool. Respect.
We have an honor code. We're just not ridiculous.
So, you are all.
May my blood give you the strongest brood of.
Teera
baby
would lean
spiders.
back to Marta over her shoulder and be like, "Is she talking to that spider?"
You know, she might want to get into poetry or ballads or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. there's
Something
like this-
beautiful and feminine. It's right up her alley.
There's this half attempt to try to say something about like may the blood and make the strongest generation of baby spiders ever, and the spiders left off into the wilderness, and she looks over at the group and kind of like hears. She can't hear what you guys are saying, but can feel the tone as women can feel tones, and just kind of like eyes. I'm sorry, that's a stereotype. Eyes flash, and look over, and keeps walking.
So, is everybody, since you're all on foot, is everybody moving at a fast pace?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
And yet all the while keeping an eye out for something to give as an offering for each season.
Okay.
The most perfect autumn leaf and something with ice and frost or snow.
Some maple syrup.
Spring spider would have been
Classic.
great.
Yeah, spider would have been awesome. for summer.
So I need, as you are traveling along, I need you all, I need one of you, somebody, to roll a d20.
Should be Ricky or Gary. They did not roll last time.
All right, I can roll it. If Gary doesn't, I'll do it. All right, I'll do it. Oh, that's a nat 20 on garbage.
Oh, he finds all 4 offerings sitting next to each other on a stump.
Jeez. Nat 20.
If only it was an investigation check.
Damn it.
So, as you are all traveling along, you're moving very quickly. This is like Legolas and Aragorn and Gimli following after the Uruk-hai, moving at this fast pace. And Teera, you're carrying Marta, correct?
Yep, correct.
So, as you are traveling along, I would like you all who are looking to go ahead and make perception checks. As you're traveling along.
Sun's
9.
out, right?
The sun's out, but you're moving through the woods, the forest, and a lot of the trees, plus there's a lot of coniferous trees here. So there's a fair amount of shade. I don't think the sunlight would affect you.
Okay, then that's a 14.
Okay. Marta, we're making perception checks.
Wait, that's an 18. Sorry. I
Okay.
have to add my 4. So,
9.
12, if you can't see it already.
That was so weird. The dice, like the picture, showed 15, but it came up as a 5, so 9, I guess.
That's weird.
It was so weird. Yeah, like the dice image showed a 15, but then the little writing said 5. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, if it was a
Give
15,
them
if you saw a
15,
15, you wouldn't roll a die in front of you and go, well, it says 15, but I'll take a 5.
Well,
Yeah.
well, it says 2 different things. I don't know. That was very
D&D is
strange.
chaotic neutral, just to let you know.
Yeah.
So that's a
D&D
19.
Beyond.
D&D
Doc,
Beyond blows.
Doc, what'd you get? If you're saying anything, I haven't heard it.
6.
Oh, okay. So, what was with that being a 15? Is that a 19 then? So all of you have a -5. because you are moving at a fast pace, which makes it difficult to look carefully. So that 19 becomes a 14, that 18 becomes a 13, the 6 a 1. I think everybody else had low numbers. However, Marta and Mizya, as you're traveling along, you notice that they're moving through this smaller forest. You come to an area where you can start to hear running water, and it's not fast moving. It has that. I mean, it is a classic babbling brook that you hear. You hear water running across stones and things, and you see through the trees, you see what looks like a little bit of a verdant clearing. There's the makings of what will eventually, as summer winds its way along, be very thick and lush grasses. But you see an area where in this little bit of a clearing where the brook goes through, the sunlight's coming down, you see where a tree looks like it was maybe broke off in a storm or something, and the log has sort of rolled off to the side, and there's this sort of jagged stump that's left there, and you see that around the stump there are a variety of flowers beginning to bloom. And because of the fertile soil from the water and the time of year that it is, you see that there are still some remnants of winter and spring flowers in this clearing.
Teera's just cluelessly tromping through this area, totally focused on going ahead.
Yeah, Teera, you feel like a hand on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Wait, stop.
What?
Marta points over on your shoulder to this little clearing with the shade.
Oh, that's pretty.
I will head over to them and I will pick some of each of the different flowers into a couple of different bouquets.
Oh, for our offering.
So you got spring and winter, or is there summer flowers there too?
The summer flowers are just beginning to bloom, but there's no sign of anything florally that represents autumn. You do see some winter jasmine. You see some spring tulips, and I don't know, whatever summer flower. I've tapped out my ability to name flowers very quickly.
Lavender. There's lavender.
Okay. There's lavender.
So I will grab several of each and just keep them. Maybe reach and grab a string to tie them.
As you do so, mysteriously, there's baby's breath and fern leaf tucked in there.
I have some green paper in my bag of holding, and I wrap them each, and then I will hand them up to Marta. Do you think these might work for your offerings for your dryads?
Yeah, Marta takes it, and you can see that she puts her nose in and smells this bouquet. Yes, I think that this will do quite lovely. Thank you.
Doc, Teera, Vornushka, perception checks.
My God, let's see
Again?
Yep.
Nat 1. I am terrible tonight. Ricky's all of a sudden rolling nat 20s, and I'm getting
3.
ones.
That is another nat 20. I hate this. No, absolutely not.
Yeah, what's happening? The other two are rolling really low.
I don't want to waste a nat 20 on looking for flowers.
So, Vornushka, first off, never assume what I'm making you roll for.
I know,
Yeah,
I
right.
know.
Vornushka, you are standing there watching as Mizya and Marta are picking flowers, gathering them together into this makeshift bouquet. You're standing in this idyllic looking clearing with this babbling brook and the grasses and the flowers around. There's even some butterflies flitting around. And you see Teera and Doc standing off to the side, not really, more or less just watching the others.
Is Marta off my back? Theater of the mind, I need to know. Is Marta on my back still?
Yes.
Okay. Marta's on
Very
my back.
important
Just
to
making sure.
understand who is on whom
I
and
just
where.
I just like to make a check every now and then just to make sure.
Well,
Thank you.
I get it. As you're seeing all of this, and you have that little bit of crankiness just because you didn't sleep, so you're exhausted, you're tired. As you're standing there, you feel beneath your feet the ground tremble slightly. And then it stops. And then you feel that vibration again.
Oh God. Oh God.
And then it stops.
And
And then you feel it again. With a nat 20, what's your actual perception score to add to that?
What was it, Ricky?
based on wisdom, correct?
It's perception. It's a skill.
Perception. Okay, hold on. Oh.
And actually, I need you to re-roll that because you are exhausted. You have disadvantage on skill checks.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I checked the box. Does it automatically change it?
Did you roll it at disadvantage?
I just rolled it. I rolled so.
No, you have to choose whether or not you're going to roll it at disadvantage.
Yeah, it
doesn't-
doesn't automatically do it, Ricky.
All right. Yeah. So my right click doesn't give me the option to it. So.
No, that's fine. Just re-roll.
Okay. A 5.
That's more in line with Ricky's rolls.
There you go.
That's how that typically goes.
So, I'm still going to say that you feel this vibration, but you don't have any clue what is happening. And with all of you that rolling so low, you suddenly feel beneath your feet as the ground heaves upward. And I need you all to make dexterity saving throws.
You are Jesus Crumps.
Jeez.
9.
I'm watching these rolls roll in.
17.
Mizya, Marta, Vornushka, all 17 and higher.
I got a 9.
Dirty 20.
Jesus.
5.
You got to roll that again, though, Ricky. You got disadvantage on checks.
No, dexterity saving
No,
throw.
it's-
Saving throws are not
Saving throw.
Oh,
disadvantage.
just okay. Gotcha.
Just ability checks at level 1 exhaustion.
That doesn't make sense. You should have disadvantage on dexterity when you're tired.
At level 2, you.
I've
you get
been
it.
tired.
But you are an Orkton chief, so.
That's true.
So-
That's so true.
I remember. who you
Teera and Doc, as the ground heaves up under your feet, you are thrown backwards and knocked prone as dirt sprays all around you. Vornushka, Marta, you spring off of Teera's shoulders as she falls backwards. And Mizya, you sort of move out of the way as well. As the ground all around this clearing erupts upward. And for a moment, it's just this upheaval, this mound of earth in a couple places where it knocked you back. And then you see this long, sharp chitinous coming to a point thing go.
Oh God.
And then you see a third one and a fourth one pull up. And then you watch as this bulbous chitinous head rises up with these massive pincers. And then from a couple other mounds as these alien looking entities rise up out of the earth And next week, I will have you all roll for initiative.
Oh.
As
How big are they? How big are they?
they are large, and there are 4 of them.
Oh, Jesus.
And they are. I will send you an image that I think some of you may already know what they are.
It's like Starship Troopers up in this bitch.
I mean, it's pretty close. They are Unkegs. And I just dropped into the Discord what they look like as they burst out of the ground, and there are 4 of them. Remember when you rolled that nat 20 and you thought it was for perception, Ricky?
Mm-hmm.
That was to see whether or not there was an encounter as you were moving through. And a nat 20 absolutely guarantees the encounter.
Oh, God. I just saw the picture.
Yep.
Okay.
So next week we will start our game off with initiative. Also, for those of you following along at home with the Candlekeep mysteries, we've been running and continue to run from the Candlekeep mysteries source book. We are officially off book. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
We are.
We've talked about it amongst ourselves that this might happen and is the nature of campaigns. So if you are somebody who follows the Candlekeep mysteries, don't be surprised if our book titles start diverging from what you're used to seeing, as things for a little while are definitely off book, pun intended. So with that, we're going to go ahead and, since this is, once again, final reminder, this was pre-recorded, we're not going to, if I'm present while this happens, maybe I'll think to throw a raid out. So hopefully future Jake, hit that raid and we'll find somebody worthy of a raid. But otherwise, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has tuned in to watch us. As always, if you are somebody that lurks silently in the chat, we appreciate you all the same. And a huge thank you to all of these amazing players who were able to gather one day early so we could get this episode pre-recorded. But I'm excited to see where we all go together in these forthcoming adventures. So a huge thank you, as always, to Gary, Cari, M, Dwight, and Ricky, without whom this would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. So with that, we're going to go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want. Mizya.